Our son is behind the camera today. Can you see my feet, KK? Alrighty.
You want to talk about,
Shout out to
baby,
vlogger.
how you secured the bag.
Production team is here today.
How did you do it? Production, can you give me a spoon? Let's get the spoon really quick. It's out of here because it's gonna do something to my mental.
Well, this is gonna be fun.
Or did I secure the bag?
I don't know. Before we get into all that,
I appreciate it.
welcome back. I'm Ceaphrael Black.
And I'm Mone't Black.
And this is
BlackInLove. And for those of you that's wondering, I'm Mrs. Black, and she's Mrs. Black too.
And she's Mrs. Black too.
Hey.
I'm Mrs. Black. She's Mrs. Black too. So this is a how we met video. We're basically going to tell you how we met. We decided to also take you on the road to marriage.
Right, because we did do that.
We got married.
Heavy.
All right.
How did we get here?
How did we
From
get
the
here?
top? Well, it all started with a conversation with my best friend.
Shout out to the best friend.
Shout out to the best friend. And she said, I'm looking to buy a car. I have an appointment set at the dealership today after work.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to come along with me because the dealerships,
They be
dealing.
Yeah,
Sometimes you don't get the best deal. The salespeople don't move with integrity, and you find yourself being got.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, I was working for a bank, and I was a loan expert dealing with car loans, home loans, personal loans, loans galore. And she was like, I want to make sure I get the best deal. So she asked me to come along as just an expert, a friend, to make sure she did not get taken advantage of. So I was expecting to go to the dealership and be welcomed by, one, a male, two, an older male.
Mm-hmm.
And that is not what happened. When we got there, it was this brown-skinned chick, okay, with this thick curly hair. And I mean, she just was very, very attractive.
She's talking about me.
Okay, so then what happened for you?
So I sold cars at the time.
Okay.
And so her friend comes into the lot. She lets me know that she was coming. I didn't know that she was coming with a friend. Shorty came with her. And when I say shorty, she was very short. That was the first thing I recognized, how small. She about 4'1" in real life. So to see how short she was at first was a little bit like, oh my God, so small. Oh.
That gave you a compliment. I was like, very attractive. And, it's okay. It's okay.
But her friend came with her, and it was immediately a vibe. Like, we all kicked it all day long. I enjoyed selling cars. So when someone came in that I knew or that I semi-knew, like, it was always fun. And so for her best friend to pull up and her to come with her.
How did you know her?
How did I know?
Yeah.
Through church.
Okay, that makes sense. She did not mention to me we were going to see a woman car sales at all. She just said, I'm going to buy a car. I want you to come. So,
and this was years ago.
Yeah, this was good 7, 8.
This is a long time ago.
This is a long time
ago.
ago.
Yeah. So we kicked it all day. Friend did not end up getting the car. However, we all became friends. One thing about her is after we became friends, she asked for my location. Oh. She was like,
wait, hold up. Just take it back. So we're at the dealership, and off rip, you're not a man. When we got there, we did have a good time. Although we were there for the car, you definitely made it a full experience.
Aww.
Like, I would have purchased a few cars from you. Like, if the money was right, I would have definitely purchased a few cars. So I remember the car that she was looking to buy was not on the lot at the time. And we had to ride with you to go pick up the car. So instead of you leaving us there, instead of you telling us, hey, come back tomorrow, I have to go get the car, you said, hey, I'm going to go and pick up the car. How about you guys ride with me? And then I don't even know if this was allowed, but I think she drove the car back, which actually probably was because she was able to test drive it. So her test driving was bringing the car back. Fast forward, when we get in the car, her car, to go pick up the other car, I was so intrigued by the short time that we had together from when we got there to when we got in the car that immediately when I got in the back seat, I Googled you.
She did Google me.
I Googled her.
Yeah, you did.
And with a name as hers, I knew she would come up. What I saw when I Googled her shocked me. I brought it to my friend's attention and I'm like, yo, you know, this is what it says. And then she confirms, like, I don't know, maybe, yeah, it could be. So because I didn't have a definite answer, when she got in the car, finally, after maybe having us out there for 2 to 3 minutes so she can do paperwork and get everything ready so we could go pick up the car, I told her from the back seat. Yeah, so I Googled you. And it says XYZ. And she would just, as casual as can be, is, yeah, that's right. So what did it say? What did it say?
Tell me what it said.
What did it say?
She Googled me, and at the time, it told her that I was 18 years old. And she was like, I remember getting in the car, driving off, and she was like, yeah, so I Googled you. And I was like, huh, okay. And she says, yeah, it says that you're like 18 years old. I was like, yeah, I am. And she's like, you were so shocked.
I was so shocked. First of all, she did not look 18. She didn't look 18. That was number one. Number two, she also didn't carry herself as an 18. She's 18, possibly 19, but there's no way. And she confirmed that she was. And I was like, wow, you're a baby. Okay.
Yeah, we learned, like, I feel like in that moment, we learned well, I think you learned a lot about me and that interaction. And it was like, okay, yeah, we can be friends. Let's be friends.
That's what happened. We can be friends.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly
like, we
what
can
happened.
definitely kick it. Like, mind you, we were not the friends who talked all the time. Like, even after that interaction, I think it probably took a month or two later for us to hang out again. And we went to the movies, and then that was quick. And after that, we probably had 2 more interactions with me here in Ohio. Then I moved. Now, there was one interaction where I spent the night at her house, like before I moved. So I popped up at her house, and I took her food and her kids' food at the time. And yeah, I spent the night, and
as a friend,
as a total friend.
Spend the night as a friend.
At this point, we still had not done anything. You know,
absolutely not.
Absolutely, we were just friends.
We were just friends.
Now during that time when I spent the night, mind you, this is the same year we met. Probably like 3 interactions later. I was being flirty. I think I was just like trying to like see where her temperature was at. And then I was telling her, like, yeah, you know, I've been with a woman before too. I have been with a woman once before for years. And I don't think she took that as like.
I didn't take it for what she said, because at the time you mentioned being with a woman for a period of time. And I'm like, okay, but you're 12. So, and at the time, why did my voice go all the way? And at the time, you were in a relationship or coming out of one. It was very rocky with a man. So it's like, okay, you're doing the, oh yeah, I like women too thing. Been there, done that. So
right.
Okay, friend.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You can stay tonight. You sleep right over there. Scoochie scoochie.
And listen, I wasn't in the business of proving it. So I was just
and
like,
you didn't.
Cool. I think shortly after that, I moved to Atlanta. We remained friends. We were not the kind of friends who talked to each other every day, again, by any means, but we were there for each other when we needed it, like every single time, for anything, to talk, to anything. It was always the same good vibe we met on. So, which was cool. So that's how we met, right? That's how we met. Fast forward.
How do we link? So Ceaphrael moves. She relocates to Atlanta, and because we were friends before she went, it was kind of like, hey, if you're ever in Atlanta, hit me up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have a place here. Hit me up if you're ever here. So when the first time when I went to visit Atlanta, I did not tell her. I didn't tell her that time because I was there on very strict terms, if you will. It was a short period of time, and I already I knew exactly what I was there for, and I didn't have a lot of time to play. So I did not tell her. But when she found out that I was there, she was like, "Oh my God, why didn't you tell me?" Right. Okay, cool. So the next time I visit Atlanta, I visit by myself.
Am I
this
missing
time.
my mouth?
No.
Did y'all see that?
I don't think you missed it. I would have saw it.
All right.
So the second time I visit Atlanta, I do tell her like, "Hey, I'm in town, and you know, if you're not busy, we can hang out." Now, in the back of my mind, she's the one that got away for me. It's like, dang, I know she was interested a couple years ago, and I definitely played shorty to the left. But over the years, I've seen her progress. She has not proven to be this young-minded person. If anything, she's proven the opposite. Like, she's very mature. She reminded me a lot of me. Very caring, very warm, very protective, and she was loyal and a good friend. So on a friend level, 10 out of 10. And she was pretty. And although she was younger, she did not carry herself as such. So I'm like, all right, you know, she's the one that got away, but I believe that where she's at in her life right now, she's happy. So I'm not coming into to be anything outside of a friend. Just, you know, how you doing? What's going on? It's been a while. I'm in Atlanta. You told me if I was ever here to hit you up. And I did.
I'm not even gonna pass it.
16.
Right, heavy tea. Yeah, so she hits me up and
Okay. Take your time.
I glitch.
Wanna take a selfie?
So she let me know she's in town in Atlanta, and she hit me up like, "Hey, I'm in town. You told me to let you know next time I was here, and I'm here." Catch 22 was everything she thought was a lie, but I wasn't happy, and I was struggling. So, when she got there, I wasn't in much of a position to drop everything. And when I did end up seeing her, she did this thing. Like, her and I have never, at this point, hadn't interacted in person more than 6 times. Probably.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that fair to say?
It was very few.
It was very few. So I hadn't interacted in person more than 6 times.
And at this point, it had been like 3 years.
Gaps. Like a big gap since the last time we interacted. And so this time comes back around, and when she sees me, she basically does inventory of my entire person. Like, good to see you, but also like, you don't look too good. And I was like, yeah, I'm not, pretty much. And from there, she got closer to me. And you can take it away from there. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just like on the edge of my seat, like, oh, and then what happened? I was there. Yeah. Okay, so I definitely got closer, but still on a friend level, respecting anything you had going on in your current life. And me being a friend, just sharing my testimony. Like, hey, I feel like you can relate to something that I just came out of.
Yeah.
Here's where I was at. Here's how I got out of it. And you were like, you know, actually, I think I can relate to that.
Yeah.
And I think seeing you not look how I was used to seeing you made you want to get back.
Too. Yeah.
Made you want to see you for where you were currently, and then made you want to get back to you.
And that was different, having someone who knew me before I went to Atlanta And me being in Atlanta, being very isolated, being very much so away from my family, away from my friends, and being integrated with someone else's life, someone else's friends and family, which is totally fine. It was just, I forgot who I was. I forgot about me. And she came back and she looked at me and was like, you don't look too well. And I know how you look when you look well. And I've only interacted with you but so many times. So that's telling me a lot in itself. And so she did. She came around, and I would say throughout this portion of our friendship is when we became friends.
Yeah.
Like, that's when we became friends. She built this foundation of this person, of who she is, and she was like, let me just tell you my experiences. This is what I just came out of. This is how I got out of it. If this is not your situation, this is my advice on how you stick in it. This is how it's like, she was giving me all angles, and I was like, this is a good friend. This is someone who wants me to win, who wants me to excel, who wants me to prevail, whatever I want to prevail in. So that's exactly who she was during this time, who you remain to be during this time. From that moment on, from the time she saw me in Atlanta, which was a very short interaction at that, from that day forward, her and I, we talked every day.
We talked. We talked.
We talked
and we talked.
Every day we talked. And
in the beginning, it was very much so like, how are you? Just checking in, making sure you are taking care of you. And we had not did any deep diving at that point. So it was still very surface. However, I felt like what I had, you needed. Like, you need some of this light I'm carrying.
And she was light. She was every text message, every conversation. We clowned, we laughed, we might have cried, we might have, shared something, and we got back up and we kept going. She talked about her kids. It was light.
What do you mean by that? Light. I mean, I know what you mean, but anybody is wondering.
No. She was short, so because she's so small, she's really easy to carry. Like, it's not much to pick up.
You want my definition of what you mean by light?
Sure. Yeah.
Does it taste better when you do that?
It's just real hard to drink out of that straw.
It's probably because you got those crumbles in there at the bottom. That's why I ate it, because I didn't want that to happen.
Light. By light, I mean so many things by that. Like, light was so opposite from my life at the time. So it was like just ray of sunshine who brought joy and laughter and pleasure to your day, just as a friend. Like, just as a friend. She has this infectious laugh. She's super kind. She's super genuine. She cares about you. She's super selfless. She's a go-getter. She's a fighter. She's loyal.
You gotta talk about your wife.
Go
ahead. Don't let me stop you. Who am I?
Because of that, I was just like, oh my, she was an enjoyable person to call a friend. And she was not, I think it's important to say that there was a lot going on in my life at this time, and she was very respectful. And that's what made her more of a friend to me than anything. Like, the level of respect that she had for my life at the time was monumental. And I promise you, had it been anyone else in the same position that she was in during the time she was in it, they would not have proved or passed the tests that she passed. She said that she feels like I was the one that got away, but as a friend in her life at that time, I was like, wow, this woman is amazing. She's an amazing friend. Like, she's an amazing person. And At the time, she was dating.
I was dating.
She was dating. Here's the catch-22. This entire time, she was dating and telling me about every date, like all the truth, all the raw truth. I knew about everything. And so I'm the sounding board. We were homies.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, you were my first friend.
Aww.
Like my kick it friend who just told me about their day-to-day life.
Remember that time I was on the date and then I was like calling you? Like, whew, this one's hard. Child. Okay, so what you doing?
She was on this virtual date with someone else that she was dating. I don't know how to explain this, but they were basically on a virtual date with each other.
Yeah, it was a long distance dating.
Yeah.
So I went to a restaurant and FaceTimed. It was a restaurant that the young lady picked for me. I FaceTimed her, and then she went to a restaurant that I picked for her, and we was on a virtual date. However, it just was not a good virtual date. The chemistry and connection was really not there for me and said person. So mid-date, I'm calling her like, yo, I don't know if I can do this. Like,
this is what she just said. What should I say?
You were a really good friend. And I tell people that, like, I've been 100% honest with C from jump. Like, and I know it started off because we were friends, which honestly is the best policy. Tell them the truth. Like, just tell them the truth.
About everything.
Just tell them the truth. So she knew I was dating. She knew that I was not interested in her in that way at that time. And we were just really good friends. She was there to support me through my dating, and I was there to support her in her life. And she supported me outside of dating too in my life as well. So we were really good friends, very transparent, very open. Me more than her at the time.
She was very vocal about like her life, her dating life, she didn't have anything to not talk about. Like nothing was off the books for her, which I enjoyed because it was very easy for her to open up. It was very easy for her to let me in on her life as a friend at the time. And for me, I opened up in some ways, but at this point in time, I was a lot more closed than she was. And even still, she was respectful. She didn't pull back. If anything, she got closer and was just like, okay, friend.
I'm here when you're ready.
Yeah, I'm here when you're ready.
I'm listening. So how do we get to I do? How do we get to I do?
I have to come back and watch the next video.
Yeah. I love that for them though.
That was so good. I would want to come back.
Yeah, I would definitely want to come back. Like,
that's a big jump from being. You want to know the crazy part? How many months was that before we got married?
Right. Ooh.
This has been fun.
Yeah, it's always fun. Cheers.
Cheers. We didn't even drink our whole drink fast.
So how old are you? Gotta come back.
You can catch that on our age gap video. It's now nighttime, so I'm just gonna whisper.
I did not sign up for this.